Yeah, and throw into the mix a cross-ply Hoosier tyre, which means that these cars move around on the tyre a whole heap with that power. It's exciting racing, Matt.
Absolutely. They squirm around this Adelaide street circuit. Aaron Seaton will start from pole position aboard the number 1 alongside Brett Holdsworth. Hugh McAllister will join his teammate Matt McKeldin in the Kubota entry out of 3 and 4. Nick Carroll and Steve McLaughlin out of 5 and 6. Mick Calder and Anthony 10K staying out of 7 and 8. Jimmy Vernon and Mark Crutcher on the 5th row. Craig Scatella is also in the mix with Chris Formosa. Sean Richardson still sweaty after his run in the Super Trucks just a few moments ago. And like Chad pointed out, Cameron Crick, Nathan Hearn, George Biedeke and Craig Dontas coming from the back of this race.
Nathan Hearn was the unfortunate story for yesterday's race for me, Matt. Only had 4 corners left to go when that tail shaft expired in his entry, and that's heartbreaking. Very different to George Biedeke, who on the opening lap was out. You go, okay, no problem, opening lap, can't do much about it. You're in the hustle and bustle, but Nathan had done a brilliant job, and let's see how he is able to get his way through the field. Was very successful in Formula Ford racing around the last couple of years, but this is a whole different story, going from a very small open wheeler, 500 kilos, to one of these big American-style muscle cars. Must feel like a very foreign world.
I got to see these cars race in Detroit a few years ago. Just the noise of them are just staggering over there. They're just loud, they move, they're fast, they've got flames, they've got everything a race fan wants.
For me, Matt, it's pretty much NASCAR for road circuits.
Yes.
Is what they've done. They've taken a whole heap of power, big engine, lots of torque, a big tyre. Look at the tyre. Look at the sidewall on that thing. It's still got a 5-stud hub to hold them on to the car, so that's very NASCAR-esque. That cross-ply that I was talking about, what it means, and here's a great slow-mo shot. When Nathan turns his car in, you can just see the bag and the sidewall there. That's got a whole heap of flex in it. So when you're sitting inside the car and you're turning the steering wheel, the car is actually stuck to the road, but the tyre is moving around, and you get all sorts of weird feelings, and it's very, very exciting. Rolling start for us.
These are great cars. They were really good yesterday. We just didn't get enough racing laps in. Let's hope they stay clean and green today. Seaton and Brett Holdsworth on the front row. Rolling start, crank up the volume at home. It's time to go Trans Am Racing at the Superloop Adelaide 500. Seaton gets the run into turn number 1. There's a bit of dust kicked up in the air from the overnight work here at the street circuit. Crick to the inside across the curb, trying to make up a few positions. He's taking Nathan Hearn with him at the back of the field. And
that's Nick Carroll that's slotted into 3rd position as well. Nick was really, really successful last year in the Kumho Super 3 series. He stepped into Trans Am for this weekend, but he was aggressive down into turn 1, and that was a great move.
So already the guys from the back of the field starting to make their presence known. They're up inside the top 15 already, but Aaron Seaton, he knows that the fast guys are coming. He needs to get out of here. The gap already 1 second. Bit of contact in the back at turn number 7. That was Formosa in the orange number 49. So great to see Jazz Hands behind the wheel in the Trans Am series. He'd be a great fit for this category.
Yeah, I'm not sure Jazz Hands will be required for driving one of these cars around. I think you more need a pair of boxing gloves fitted to your hands, and you just be belting away. They are brutal, brutal, brutal cars to drive.
So down to turn number 9, we pick up the leading group coming out of Wakefield Road and back in behind the pit paddock here at the Adelaide Street Circuit. There's Mark Crutcher, who started his career in Nissan Pulsars. This is a big step up in the number 4 in the Trans Am category. Further back in that field, we're watching 10K. Richardson back in 15th position, and Dontas taking it nice and easy. He's moving up into 14th position as Seaton squirms his way under brakes into turn 1 underneath the Superloop bridge. We start lap 2 of 9.
I'll keep a bit of an eye on 10K as well, because I noticed in the background on the opening lap he made reasonably heavy contact with the wall on the outside of turn 7 on the exit. So whether or not he's got a little bit of damage to that car, we'll keep an eye on it. Good little battle pack happening here. Jimmy Vernon making his way through the field. He's just disposed of McLaughlin in the Valvoline entry. That's not Scotty.
That's Steve McLaughlin, yeah. Just to clear that one up. So Vernon, who dropped down to the bottom of the top 10 yesterday, is now up into 6th position. Nathan Hearn and Cameron Crick are 10th and 11th. They've made up 9 positions in just over 1 and a bit laps in race 2 here today. Aaron Seaton, 2.8 seconds, and now the number 2 has spun. And Sean Richardson and the RTC group entry, he'll look to do a flick spin and blaze on down Bartels Road. Oh, that's going to be awkward if he doesn't get that done. And did he keep it off the wall? Yes. Just. Big long cars and a very narrow exit there onto Bartels Road. That's what happened on the first lap.
Oh, and that's the 10K incident that I mentioned before. So that slow-mo replay didn't make it look as bad as when we saw it in real time. So he'll be okay, I think, particularly given, as I mentioned earlier, the big sidewall on the tyre. It'll actually help to absorb some of that impact. If you get into hard steel rims, a lot of energy in the rim, it'll actually do some suspension damage, but I think he's gotten away with that one. Here's Dontas.
So Dontas goes to 12th position now from the back of the field. He's no stranger to the Adelaide Street Circuit. He was part of the organising group here for many, many years. You've seen him race in Aussie racing cars as well as the super trucks in the past 5 or 6 years. While Cameron Crick moves up into 11th position now. He sets sail for McLaughlin just ahead. Oh, McLaughlin has spun just as we were saying that. So that's the top of Hutton Perry Street. And again, he's going to try and spin this car around. No, he won't. It'll be a three-point turn, but he's going to go right to the back of the field with Sean Richardson. What a shame. The Valvoline number 75 was inside the top 10 up to that point.
I'm surprised, man. That's the second time Richardson did the same thing where he tried to flick spin it, and he wasn't successful in doing it. Now, I'm curious to know why, because there's plenty of torque, plenty of power. They should be able to flick spin pretty easily. I'm going to have to go and satisfy my curiosity on that one and go and work out what's going on, because you really should be able to just get on the loud pedal and drop the clutch and flip the thing around pretty easily.
Vernon to the inside now on Hugh McAllister from Young in New South Wales. He's going to lose 2 spots in one corner.
Hearn's gone with him as well.
So Hearn, who started from position 18, now runs in 6th position after 3 laps around the Adelaide Street Circuit. Race 2 of the Trans Ams here as part of the Superloop Adelaide 500. First round of the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship. Qualifying to come later on this morning here on Fox Sports. And then we'll get into 250 kilometres of racing later on today.
So now this is going to be a good battle between these 2 young chargers. Jimmy Vernon, we saw yesterday, made a mistake, ended up in the fence right here at turn 7 on the outside. Nathan Hearn, he was running second for 99.9% of the race yesterday. Unfortunately, it was that 0.1 that let him down. But he's got plenty of speed on board that Dodge.
He sits right behind Vernon here. He'll pull out to make the move because Vernon is on the normal racing line. More often than not, it's just going to pull the Gulf Western Oils car up in time. Vernon will fight back, but is pushed across the top of the curb and will have to drop in behind Hearn. So this has been a massive charge from the 29.
And as soon as you get onto the back edge of that curb there on the exit of turn 9, it's like getting up onto a rail on a skateboard. Your car just slides across it. You have no drive, and you're a sitting duck to get past, unfortunately.
Replay of the race start. You can see the fast guys at the back already trying to make some moves before we got down to turn number 1. They were 3 wide for 3rd, 4th and 5th. Across the centre chicane. Do love that shot with the grandstand in the background and everybody trying to find some space in what is a very narrow part of this Adelaide course. This was Hugh McAllister losing 2 spots in his Kubota entry. Had some clutch issues with that car on Thursday. First time racing here on the Adelaide Street Circuit. Teamed up with Matt McKeldin this year in a 2-car assault for Kubota Racing.
Beautifully turned out. Real team effort. How good do they look, the Kubota entries?
Of course, McKeldin ran in the inaugural year of the Super Utes and ran in this series last year. He's brought his good buddy Hugh McAllister along for the ride as well. And now they're chasing Jimmy Vernon, who runs in 5th position. Cameron Crick is up to 8th. Tim Shaw and Craig Dontas now 9th and 10th. Replay at the top of the very bumpy Wakefield Street.
And you can just hear some tyre squeal in the background there, just suggesting that everybody on the braking threshold using all of the grip available from the Hoosier tyre. I love hearing those noises. It just suggests that everybody's maximising what they got underneath them, and you can certainly see it there from McAllister as he tried to get on the throttle, rear of the car sliding around before it grips up nicely underneath him. They've got to get comfortable with that feeling too, because that's how you got to drive them. They've got to slide a bit before they grip. And if you're not having the slide going on, then you're not going fast enough.
They've also got to be careful too, Andy, not to burn up these tyres. There's only 6 Hoosier tyres available for qualifying in the 3 races. This is race number 2 as McAllister makes a mistake there through the chicane, and this is an invitation begging for the Plus Fitness entry of Cameron Crick, who won't be able to get it done there. Or will he? Just gave enough racing room, and he's on the wrong side of Cool here, heading through the left-hander. But Crick will be in the better spot to make it happen here at turn number 6.
Yeah, he made it hard for himself there, Cam Crick. He was to the driver's extreme right-hand side on the run-up to turn 4 there, making the corner radius really tight, so he had to overslow the car, but thankfully McAllister gave him plenty of room, plenty of space, and he was able to go round the outside at turn 5.
Here it was. McAllister was lucky to get that car straightened up. He was never going to make the apex and decided to bounce across the curbs on the inside of the centre chicane. And that allowed Cameron Crick to put himself in the box seat. Meantime, Craig Dontis going down the inside here of Tim Shaw at turn 9. Gets the job done. So Dontis from 20th position after repairing this car in that massive qualifying shunt yesterday is now inside the top 10.
Very good effort from Craig. He also was part of the Super Ute Series last year. This year deciding to turn his attention to Trans Am. And that beautifully turned out Pioneer DJ supported vehicle. He's making his way back through the field. No such issues though for Aaron Seaton. He's the 2019 champion. He's looking very strong once again this year. He's got this race under control, and he's just gone purple to the end of the first sector. So purples means he is the fastest guy so far in this race in that first sector. Can he go on with it?
1:25.4 on lap number 6. He's just out to break the lap record now. Well, he has a 6-second, yes, a 6-second margin back to Brett Holdsworth. He's coming up to Sean Richardson to put him a lap down in car number 2. That spun earlier in the race, so he gave probably more than enough room for Aaron Seaton to make the move.
Absolutely. Did a really good job, Sean. He is out of this race. He had an incident earlier, so that's the right way to go about it. When you see the leader coming up on you like that, just get out of their way, let him do his thing. Has cost him some time, though. Or I suggest it's cost him some time because he was purple to the first sector and he's lost a fair bit of time, about 3.5 tenths slower in that middle sector.
And 25.9 on that previous lap, so half a second off his best time. He doesn't need to worry about it with a 6.5 second advantage. It's the second car in this shot that runs in second place. Brett Holdsworth. We pan back to Nick Carroll, Jimmy Vernon, Nathan Hearn, all coming through the field as well. And here comes Cameron Crick from the back of the field in car 14, runs in 6th position, ahead of Matt McKeldin in the first of the Kubota entries. Back to Dontis, and then Tim Shaw, who completes the top 10.
And then let's have a look at this one here, the 49 of Chris Formosa. If you're going to run a Dodge, what sort of livery would you put on it if you got the choice, Matt?
The General. He is the General.
He's running the General Lee. Why wouldn't you? It absolutely needs to happen, doesn't it?
Chad?
Some interested onlookers down here in pit lane. We've got the Shell V-Power Racing team keeping a very keen eye on young Aaron Seaton because Aaron actually works for this team. He's a mechanic in the workshop throughout the week, and the team have been watching the timing boards, shaking their heads at just how big that lead is getting. And just on Dick Johnson watch, DJ's out the back, meeting the fans, getting some autographs and taking a few selfies.
He loves it, doesn't he? Of course, DJ won the first ever race here for the touring cars back in '85, and it was in a Mustang. But Seaton coming around now to start the final lap, and it's out to 7.5 seconds while Nathan Hearn's about to set a new lap record for the Trans Ams. Brett Holdsworth, a lonely second place. He's got nearly 6.5 seconds on Nick Carroll. So Seaton shutting this race down.
I'd also imagine that Ludo Lacroix was probably looking at the bonnet on Aaron Seaton's car, and on the driver's left-hand side, it's propped up a little bit, allowing some air to get in underneath the bonnet. Now, we know Ludo is very much the engineering expert. He puts a lot of effort into aero efficiency. I'm sure he'll have some words with Aaron on that. Tell him to tune up the bonnet so that he doesn't lose. He's got a bit more pace in that car.
Nathan Hearn going past Nick Carroll at the same time into 3rd position. So Nick Carroll, who we've seen in Formula Ford competition as well over the years in Toyota 86 and a stint in the V8 Touring Car Series. But Aaron Seaton just has owned this category this weekend. Pole position. Love how he's kept his dad's colours on the helmet as well, although it's not the open face helmet.
And hopefully he's chewing on a drink straw in there as well, like Glenn used to.
He's back to right off now. He doesn't need to go silly with it. It's been an absolute masterclass from last year's champion as he brings it towards the top of the Adelaide hairpin. And 7.5 seconds. It's been a nice Saturday morning drive for Aaron Seaton as he accelerates out the final turn and will take the checkered flag in race number 2 of the Trans Ams here today, supporting the Superloop Adelaide 500. It's over 6 seconds back to Brett Holdsworth. That's a good drive to finish in second.
That is a good drive.
Check this out.
One, mate, from Nathan Hearn all the way from the back of the field to position 3. That is awesome.
18th position it was into 3rd. The 2 Kubota cars are going to finish just behind here in 7th and 8th position, with Dontis finishing inside the top 10. So as promised, the guys from the back really did move up into the top 10 and did it with ease, much like this guy did. Aaron Seaton, 6.4 seconds was the margin back to Brett Holdsworth in race number 2 of the Trans Ams here today. Nathan Hearn and Nick Carroll, Jimmy Vernon and Cameron Crick, Matt McKeldin and Hugh McAllister, Craig Dontis 9th, and Tim Shaw completing the top 10, some 30 seconds behind Dontis, his fastest lap of the race on the final lap. Michael Coulter is at 11th, Chris Formosa, Mark Crutcher, George Biedeke to 14th, Anthony Tenkate in 16th, and Steve McLaughlin, who spun at the top of turn 6, and Sean Richardson, who went 1 lap down. They've been a great addition, the Trans Am, supporting the Superloop Adelaide 500 this weekend, and once again Aaron Seaton leading from pole right to the checkered flag as the car's got 9 clean laps of racing here.
Yeah, we had some of the fast guys at the back. We're on board here with George Biedeke, and we're watching him make his way through. He didn't come through the field as much as we thought. There was this moment here for Sean Richardson as he tried to make his way around turn 7. Did a very, very good job to keep that car off both the outside and then the inside fence as he spun. A little bit of damage still on the Cameron Crick entry from the contact yesterday. Jimmy Vernon made light work of McAllister at the final corner, and that allowed Nathan Hearn to come through as well.
It was George Biedeke trying to make his way up. He got to 14th only. Hugh McAllister had this moment through the centre chicane, which would allow Cameron Crick to get past. Crick would finish in 6th position when this race came to an end, and they argued over this spot right through the staircase section, didn't they?
Yeah, but it was really, really respectful racing, both guys, particularly McAllister, to give Cameron Crick enough space to go round the outside at turn 5.
But Aaron Seaton would collect the win, and he was unstoppable and unchallenged from the start of race number 2. We'll start from pole position for the final race of the Trans Ams here this weekend.